In the shadow of October 7th, our community stands at a crossroads.
We believed we were safe in Toronto, in Canada, in our perfect bubble. October 7th proved that that was not the case.
We were the community that was the envy of the Jewish world. Since then, when I go to visit a community, the visit usually starts with, "How are you doing?" We hear things are really difficult in Toronto.
It also led to individual attacks on our institutions, things that I had never contemplated.
Schools are shot at multiple times. A community where violent demonstrators take over the streets of your city. You realize this isn't the Jewish Toronto that we want for our kids and our future.
We're seeing a huge tidal wave of new needs, and we need your help. The Campaign to Secure Our Future is really about how we are going to lead in the post-October 7th world to make sure that our community is strong.
The Campaign to Secure Our Jewish Future is about three things. The first is making sure that every member of this community can participate in Jewish life freely and not having to worry about their safety and security.
I think about my grandchildren who are now attending Hebrew day schools, and I think there's nothing more important now than to make them feel safe.
In creating the plan to address security, the first thing we did was go around the world to learn from communities who've been doing this, not just for years, but for decades.
We spoke to Sydney and Melbourne. We spoke in South Africa, Johannesburg and Cape Town. We spoke to London, we spoke to Paris, we spoke to many of the Americans. And then figuring out who was doing what and what best applied to Canada and Toronto.
The Jewish Security Network has four key pillars. The first is the establishment of a command and control center, a security operations center that will serve as the central nervous system of security in our community. The second is empowering volunteers, members of the community who are best equipped to be the eyes and ears of security across our institutions. The third is research, to make sure that we can anticipate the threats that are facing our community and to share that information with law enforcement. And the fourth is to harden the security infrastructure across our community at synagogues and schools and summer camps to make sure they have best-in-class infrastructure, policies, and procedures to protect those who are in their spaces. Setting up the Jewish Security Network and making sure that we have best-in-class security across our community is expensive.
I think that the JSN is trying to put in place a very robust and comprehensive organization that will serve the community needs for years to come.
The second thing we're going to do is to make sure that we push hate back to the margins of Canadian society by making sure that our enemies know that there is a high price to pay for attacking the Jewish community, making sure that we grow the number of allies who vocally come out in support of our community, and that we mobilize our community to be strong and resilient and to push back against hate.
Since October 7th, we face an unprecedented rise of anti-Semitism on campus, which has manifested through students being isolated from their campus programming because of being Jewish or associations with Israel, from boycott, divest, and sanctions movements that target clubs on campus, and protests that intimidate students on campus and prevent them from seeking the academic experience that they so deserve.
We have seen such a dramatic increase in anti-Semitism in our city, and we need to fight hate where we can win.
CJS Legal Task Force has tried to, and effectively, counter that anti-Semitism using the legal tools that were available to them in the courts. We have lawsuits against the unions. We also are taking for instance, the Toronto School Board to court because our students at those schools have experienced terrible anti-Semitism.
I was a lifelong soldier. I used to be the Chief of Defense Staff for Canada. So I got engaged because I believed that our country was at risk. I think the rise in anti-Semitism really articulated that for me. You need allies, and that's why I believe that Allies for a Strong Canada is crucially important.
The last thing we need to do is to capitalize on the amazing surge of interest in Jewish life.
There is currently more children who are interested in the Jewish education than our system can provide, and that is something that is unsettling for us here as educators.
They're banging on our doors to come to Jewish day school and summer camp and early childhood education and into our JCCs and all kinds of places. And it is our obligation to welcome them into Jewish life, to make sure that they have a place to express their Jewish identity.
The Toronto Jewish community is one of the most generous communities in the world when it comes to making sure that our community is well funded and is strong. We are turning to our leading donor families to help us bridge in this really difficult time. We need to raise $75 million over and above our regular annual campaign just to meet the basic needs with respect to security and fighting anti-Semitism.
Members of the Legal Task Force who take on these cases, and there are approximately 200 of them, they give their time for free. But we require money for experts. We require money for disbursements. We require filing fees. We require work for investigators. And what's very important to remember is that our adversaries are extremely well funded.
The way I look at it, this is really an investment for the future. We have a plan, and that plan is to invest dollars today and have our campaign catch up to be able to sustain that into the future.
We need help to make sure that this Jewish community stays strong, that our kids grow up safe, that our kids grow up proud, and that they can grow up living in a publicly Jewish way in the city of Toronto.
To you, the donors, and to all of us who have for so many years supported all the wonderful things that UJA does for us as Jews living in Toronto, we want to be able to continue to do that.
This now falls upon us. It's our responsibility to take care of our own. This is what we have been doing as Jews for centuries.
The philanthropic community in Toronto is unparalleled. The asks are endless. This is a critical time. This is a critical need. This needs everyone's support now.